Today on Banjo's Hot Rod Shop, we working on this 1967 RSSS Camaro. I'll pull up a chair and stay a while. The 67 RSSS Camaro paint job. I'm not going to do a how-to video on how to paint. There's 10 million other videos on YouTube to show you that. I'm just going to go through how I do it. And how I do it is wrong to all the haters out there in the comments. But for what it's worth, you can watch me on my journey. I'm going to get over here and show you. So, this bottom hinge right here has Phillips screws. So what the best thing to do is take the door panel off, get your PB Blaster, WD-40, whatever it is of choice, and spray these down from the inside real good before you ever go taking them out. The next thing you need to do is get the right bit to take these off. I did it for years. If you get these little bits like this, that comes in the impact sets and whatever, this bit right here looks right, but it is not right. See how much slack there is? See this bit? When it goes in there, it gets a hold of it and grabs it. And it will help you get it. This is a number 4 Phillips. If you're taking the doors off, that tip right there will go a long way in serving you. Screw that back in there so I don't lose it. This car right here was a factory red car. So you can see it in this color, like right here where they pulled the inner side panel around, was glued. And for some reason or another, I think the guy that had this car painted her gold in the late 70s. Yes, numbers match, but I gotta take the glass back out of it. I don't have to, but for me, it's going to get a vinyl top on it, and I like it where I can pull that vinyl top all the way down into here and get her getting glued. Can't do that with that glass. I can't do that with that glass in. A good upholstery man can. I've got to find the holes. Somebody had this car before me and started on it, and the guy that had it I know, and he is a great body man. But he wasn't going to put the vinyl top back on it, so guess who's got to go back in and find the holes. And these things come with these plastic clips that just snap the chrome on. I think I'm just going to put the clips like go in there and it's got a stud through it where I can screw it on all the way around. 4 pants is pretty good. Bottoms of the doors are good. I just got to get in here. I'm not taking all this paint off. Hey, it's been on there since 1977. It ain't fell off yet. I don't expect it to be falling off. But I'm going to put around it. Get on over here. And 2, tail panel's good. He did some kind of rust prevention in the trunk. I'm not messing with that. And if you don't want it messed with, get up in here in this track. There you go again. You can see some of the red, factory red that was on it. Yeah, it's going to make a nice car. It's all original sheet metal car. When you take your hood off, keep up with your correct hood bolts. It's super easy to get one just a little bit too long, and when you screw her on home, she pops out the end of the other side of the hood, and that looks horrible. And I'm going to sand this right here and get this good and black. Get that good mark black on it. That's one thing I do like. Yeah, I could do something to pay some bills around here. But anyway, as you can see, I've got my work cut out for me for a while. Painting the car, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on guys doing it. It's not really good content. So I think what I'm gonna do is just, when I start sanding on something, I'm just gonna break away and maybe tell you what grit paper I'm using. Maybe tell you how I mix some of my paint, primer and stuff. Everybody always skims over that in their videos and never really tell you what they're doing. So I'm gonna do like the parts of the paint job where people really don't tell you much about it. Going over here, here's the trunk deck right here, and like I said, the paint is good and tight. We'll say this when you're painting the car, and I will say this about any project that you got: never, if it's running when you get it, never ever under any circumstance take the motor, the engine out of your project unless you've got everything in the floor to get your project back to running and moving under its own power. Nothing will kill a project worse than you taking the motor out and taking, you know, stripping everything down. Well, you can strip everything down, but if you get the car where you cannot move it out of your way, it will get pushed to a position in your shop, your backyard, and those Sundays or after work times when you can work on it for an hour or two, if it won't crank and run and move, it gets where you won't even work on it. So that's my number one tip on working on any old car. Unless you're a restoration shop, that's completely different. But like me here, I ain't got no restoration shop. I just got a bunch of pretty neat tools and stuff, but you know why? Because I married a rich woman. I'm, you know, hate me if you will, but I mean, my wife's rich. Gives me the luxury of doing what I want. But anyway, it's funny. So I'm gonna stop it right here. I'm gonna get to doing a little bit of work, and I will be back. Yeah. Old Terry over there, he waiting on me to work on him some, but Terry don't pay nothing. Terry. Alright, I'm gonna start on the hood first. So here's what I'm gonna use. DA. Another DA that's got a hook it pad on it. And I just take a scuff pads and cut them into a circle. And I'll stick on this. Old Harbor Freight right angle grinder. Harbor Freight die grinder brush. And what I do, I always start out with my air tools every time I use them with a little bit of oil. Don't hurt nothing. And I'll do a little sanding. Do a little progress check here on the hood. Well, I've probably been at it, I don't know, 15 minutes, not much, 10 minutes. You can see right here, I'm just using this right here. Ain't gonna be the outside of the car. It's gonna be, but keep this in mind when you're doing your hood, when you're sanding. You want to get it all down where your primer's gonna stick to it, but don't get bogged down into places that can't be seen when your hood's hanging on your car. Look at the old truck right here. So when you're looking down this way. See what I'm saying? Same way with this car. When you get to painting and stuff, you'll paint it laying flat, but when you get it on the car, you'll see places up in here, like up in here where you didn't get enough paint blowed. So kind of, after you paint your car laying flat, get somebody to help you set it up and kind of lay it over like it's on the car, then spray you some more paint to finish it out. You won't be sorry that you... All right, here's going to be a Colortech tip, whatever you want to call it. A lot of times when you got these die grinders, after you want to change out a head or something, this one's always stuck in there. The best way to get it out after you loosen it, like that. Sure, I got it loosened up. And this ain't always the case. It'll be stuck. Just give it out 2 taps, come right out. Bob's your uncle. Tighten her back up. Let's say it is, the closer it gets down to the end, the better it takes stuff off. 2.
A John Deere tractor and a plug in the back. Power sawmills, a brake and plow, said it never worked.
Here's what I was talking about on your 3-inch roll-lock disc. So as you use them, they get smaller. This started out being a 3-inch. Well, I'm needing to get down into this hole right here, and I can't get down in it. Now this one, and it's all the way about gone. It will go in there. So what I'm going to do is take this one off. Put it on this one. Well, it'll still go in there, but it's going to be tight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim her down. Trim her down. Make some points. Trim her down. Now, I think that's going to work. Alright, let's see if it works.
He had a John Deere tractor and a plug in the back. Power at sawmills, a brake and plow, said he never worked in a factory.
Devil's in the detail. Got this looking pretty good, but now there's no way to really sand this with what we're doing. So I'm gonna, this hood fit good off the car, so I'm gonna scribe me a line on this. Alright, I got my line scribed. It's over here where I'll lose it. Take these off. We're going to take this over here to the sandblast cabinet, get this all cleaned up real good. Now we get in here and sand this out. If your hardware is good, keep your original hardware. Don't be one of those guys that buys the whole bag of front end parts. And I am that guy. But if you've got bolts that are good, like these are the ones that come from the factory. Maybe not, but anywho, looks a lot better when you got your original bolts and stuff. Well, I don't know about the nuts, but your bolts. It makes a big difference.
For some reason he liked hippies, Saw the Grateful Dead in the 60s. Had an old Martin guitar that his granddaddy gave him in the 50s. Had a well where he drew water. Said it's silly to buy it in a bottle. He was 10 miles from the nearest mount road in a shotgun shack in a holler.
All right, I got this out of the sandblast cabinet. Looks a lot better. Got all that red paint off of it. Now I'm going to finish up cleaning this, and you can see where I scribe my lines. I think you can. Yeah. So when I go to put it back on, it'll go right back in exactly the same place with minimum adjustment, hopefully. All right, I'm gonna finish this up. All right, I'm gonna mix a little color. Well, not color, epoxy primer. If you use Omni stuff, it's MP 172, and it's gonna be black. Spray whatever you want to on it, but it's a lot harder to cover up gray with black than it is black with black. But this stuff right here mixes 2 parts primer to 1 part hardener. And how I do that is on these cups right here. It's got it laid out 2 part and 1 part. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. I've been letting this shake for a while, so it should be ready. Pour up to that mark right there. And go to the 1 part right here. There it is. Put this back on so I don't spill it. Stuff is getting high. On this right here, the MP 172, after you mix this together and get it stirred in, you're supposed to let it sit for 15 minutes before you spray it. So I'm not going to bore you with me stirring this up, so I'm going to get this and get it in the gun, and we'll go from there. What I'm gonna do now is just jam this thing in. I've got my little Harbor Freight little gun. I'm gonna just try to get into some of these corners. And all I want to do with this right here is just get it covered. We don't want to build with this. Good stuff about this right here, it goes on like a satin finish, like a hot rod black. All right, I'm back with the big gun. Just go ahead and color it all in here. Good. It's gonna flow out and lay down nice. I'm gonna let this dry. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set it up in the floor and raise it up like you had the car hood up, looking down into it. And you can see all the places. As good as we got it, we still missed. So we'll do that after this dries. Alright, I'm gonna put some more on this hood with it like in a raised position on the car so you can get down into the places. I got this TikTok $3 headband wrapped around my gun so I can see what I'm doing. shorten that pattern down a little bit. Now we got to get our bags painted too. Prime. Always get them edges. Probably gonna run. Alright, that's all I'm gonna do with this. Next time we run up, I'm gonna do paint. Stuff goes on grainy, but it'll flow out like magic. Like magic. All right, painted the hood yesterday, and I'm fixed to put the paint on it today. But I'm gonna show you how good this epoxy primer lays out. Almost makes you not want to even put paint on it. Check this out. Look how slick and sheen looking that is. The one thing I didn't show or tell y'all yesterday, before I went to sanding on this, I took it outside and I hot pressure washed this thing for like 20 minutes. I stood it up, pressure washed it. I put it on its side, I pressure washed it. I flipped it all 4 ways and pressure washed it. So after I did all that sanding, I blowed it and I vacuumed it. Blowed it, vacuumed it over and over and over. So, but anyway, it looks good. It looks just like I knew it would. And all I did was use the tack rag on it. I didn't wipe it down with prep saw and lacquer thinner, and I didn't do nothing to the metal. I didn't acid it or all that stuff that you can do, and it's probably like I said. Banjo's Hot Rod Shop. Now here's the banjo part of this shop. Let's see here. Just be a good tune y'all won't hear. What about I ain't gonna play that. What about Eastbound and Down? Y'all like and subscribe and come back to the channel. Leave a comment if you want to hear me play a tune or whatever you want me to work on or whatever I need to do. Just come back.